The Secret of Creation. Jesus Christ reveals through Jakob Lorber. The Household of God. History of the primal creation of spirits and matter. The first patriarch, from Adam to Abraham. Volume 1, Chapter 5. Thus spoke the Lord to me, Jakob Lorber, and within me for everyone, and that is true, faithful, and certain. He who has ears to hear, let him hear, and he who has eyes to see, let him see. I will reveal a great secret to you, so that you may see how your most loving and holy Father presents himself in a brotherly manner, enabling you to see and enjoy him face to face. For the children must be introduced to their Father's great household from eternity. The Divinity was, from eternity, the power permeating all endlessness of infinity, and it was, and is, and will forever be infinity itself. In the center of its depth, I was, from eternity, the love and the very life within it. But behold, I was blind, like an embryo within the womb. The Divinity, however, took pleasure in its love and pressed hard towards it. The love felt ever more ardent in its center. Masses upon masses of the Divinity assailed it, and all powers and forces stormed towards it. Then there arose a great hum, a storming and roaring, and behold, love became fearful and was pressed hard from all sides, so much so that it trembled deep within. Love became aware of it all, and the hum became a sound, and the sound within love became a word, and the word spoke. Let there be light. And within the heart, the flame of the ignited love began to blaze, and it became light in all the spaces of infinity. God saw the great glory of his love within him, and love was strengthened with the power of the Divinity, and thus it united with love forever, and the light issued from the warmth. And lo, love saw within the Divinity all the glories, whose number is endless, and the Divinity saw how all this flowed into it from love, and love saw its thoughts within the Divinity, and found great pleasure in them. Thereupon love ignited anew, and the powers of the Divinity moved around it, and behold, the thoughts emanating from love were themselves love, countless in number. There, the Divinity saw its glory, and love felt its power, and the love within the Divinity spoke. Let us hold the thoughts of glory, and cause them to go forth, so that they may become free, perceiving us and becoming aware of how we perceive and see them, how we perceived and saw them before the light illuminated their forms. Then the word passed into the Divinity, and it became love throughout. And lo, the Divinity spoke for the first time. Let there be. And a host of spirits, countless in number, was set free from the Divinity, and love saw itself endlessly multiplied, beholding its infinite beauty in perfection. However, all the beings were not yet alive, and did not yet perceive and see, for they were still fixed forms in the Divinity, outside of love. Love felt compassion and began to stir, and the motion rose within the divinity, and the divinity gave its captives to love, and love permeated all. And lo, the forms became alive and looked at each other in amazement, warming themselves at the flames streaming from the divine love, thereby receiving independent movement and activity. But they did not recognize themselves yet. Then love spoke again. Let us make them recognize themselves, so that they may know me, and through me also you. Once again, the word arose within the divinity, and the word resounded within the divinity, and the word became law, and the law was love, flowing into all. And behold, there were made 3, and from them came forth 7. And the 3 equaled the love, the light, and the divinity, and the 7 equaled the 7 spirits of God. They are and shall forever be called: 1. Love the love. 2. Fear the divinity that slays, lest you be slain. 3. The love within you is holy, so respect one another, as the love within the divinity respects you and is pleased with you. 4. Everyone belongs to himself, as well as to the love of God. Therefore, let no one be prey to another. 5. Let no one ever hide his face from the other, to prevent him from knowing what love is like, so that you may be like the love which called you into existence. 6. Let your innermost be like your outermost, so that no false emotion may arise within you, and you perish. 7. Your outermost shall be the true reflection of your inner mirror, in which the love of the divinity gazes upon itself. Otherwise, the inner mirror will break to pieces, and your form become hideous. Then the divinity thundered in the infinite spaces, a dreadful judgment to the transgressors, and they were bidden to worship the divinity in the greatest fear and love of the love. They were expunged from the divinity into the greatest freedom, and could do as they pleased. And nothing shall impede their freedom until the time when they will have recognized themselves in their freedom and their humility, so that the law may become their own, and they be completely free. However, now they became aware of their great might, and their all-outshining splendor and majesty. And the first of the 3, akin to the light of the divinity, ignited himself in his desire to fully overpower the divinity. Through him were also kindled a great part of the spirits he had created. Thereupon, the divinity was kindled in its anger, as were the remaining 2 of the 3 spirits, and cast the evil horde into the most profound depth of its wrath. The 2 remaining, and those who had come forth from them, and the 7, whose number was just, were found faithful in their humility, and were admitted into the spheres of the might of God. And love saw that they had been found pure, and rejoiced in their perfection. And behold, the power of the divinity rose within the love, and the divinity moved, and the created noticed the movement of the divinity. The divinity moved towards its love, and the eyes of the created were opened, and they beheld eternal love for the first time. The hosts of countless beings were amazed, and there was jubilation and great joy among them, for they saw the might of God within love, as well as the love within themselves, and the power that had called them into existence. They recognized themselves, the love, and God. Now the divinity moved, and the created were afraid. Love saw their fear, and that it was just. Their fear became obedience, and obedience was humility, and the humility was their love, and love became their law, and the law their eternal freedom, and the freedom became their life, and the life their eternal bliss. And lo, eternal love spoke to them, and they understood the word. Then their tongues were loosened, and the first word that flowed from their lips was love. The divinity was pleased with the tone of their speech, and moved by love. And the movement took form within the created, and the form became sound, and the sound was the second word, God. And only now were the created perfected. Love spoke to them. The first among you was lost. Therefore I am taking his place, and shall be among you forever. Once more their tongues were loosened. They bent their knees and worshipped love. Now behold, all that love did, and God within love, and love within God. Love felt compassion for the lost, but the divinity quaked in its wrath, and a great thunder was heard in all the spaces of God's infinity. The thunder penetrated the innermost of eternal love, and love alone understood the thunder of the divinity. The thunder became a word within it, speaking, "Yours shall be all the might. Do whatever pleases you, and speak. Let there be, and it shall be." And lo, love was stirred to its innermost, and the first tear flowed from the eye of eternal love, and this tear flowed from the heart of the divinity, and was, is, and shall forever be called mercy. This tear became a great body of water, flowing into all the spaces of infinity, and into the deepest depths of the wrath of the divinity, appeasing the fire of God's anger. And lo, the Spirit of God, in its power, moved gently over the waters of mercy, and the waters parted. God spoke out of his love, and his love was the Word, and the Word descended into the deepest depths and hovered above the waters. And the waters became separated, like dewdrops, were spread out in all the spaces of infinity, as large and small drops, according to the number of the lost, endless in truth. And lo, the last drop that remained was the innermost of the waters, and the innermost of mercy. It was not spread out, but remained where it had been left, and was destined to be the center and the stage for the greatest deeds of eternal love. And now, behold, the last drop became the planet Earth, which you and your brothers inhabit. The other drops were formed into countless suns, planets, and moons of all kinds. And lo, thus came into existence the firmament, with its stars, the sun, the moon, and the visible earth, with its oceans and solid land. Now lift up your eyes and see, and you shall comprehend the wonders of eternal love. You always see the radiance of the sun, the light of the moon, and the shimmer and glitter of the stars in their varied constellations, which you call the signs of the zodiac. You see also the great variety of formations in all the three kingdoms of nature of the natural earth. However, to this day, no one has fathomed and properly comprehended the nature and source of the sun's radiance, and how it has come about. The shine of the moon, the shimmer and glitter of the stars and their most varied constellations, and the structure of the earth. For behold, my children must be introduced to all the beautiful things their holy, most loving Father has available as gifts for his children that recognize him, love him alone above all, and love each other out of love of their Father. And behold, when all the suns with their planets came into existence through the might of the eternal, infinite God's merciful love, they had as of yet no radiance, shine, shimmer, or glimmer, for there was still dark night upon the created suns, earths, and moons. But into the center of the suns, eternal love sank a small spark of its grace, and this spark, faster than lightning, illuminated the dark masses. And lo, they shone upon the earths with a great radiance, are still shining, and will do so as long as the spark of grace is not taken from them. And behold, the earths and moons also began to shine, and they were allocated to the suns in just numbers. And love breathed upon them through the power and might of the divinity. And lo, the light vibrated upon the suns, the seas on the planets heaved and whirled the floods, and the air currents and winds floated and blew over the earths, like the Spirit of God over the waters of mercy. The moons rose mightily above the earths to which they had been given, like fruit on a tree, and began to revolve around them in wide circles as constant companions. And where there were many of them, they were united in fixed orbits as a sign of the love of the children who are to constantly behold the face of their Father, as do the moons their earths, to prevent them from being torn from their orbits and destroyed on account of their loose structure. For behold, the moons are not solid, but porous, similar to the foam of the sea when it grows firmer and more solid. And they are barren and without water. The air of the earth is as the water of the moons, and their air is like the ether between the suns and earths. The moons are destined to receive those clinging to the world, to hold the spirits of matter, to probe their constancy, and mature them for the reception of grace. The solid part of the earths is the part of the wrath of the divinity that was appeased through mercy, and holds with strong fetters the spirits of those who had strayed. They will be held until the appointed time of their unaware release, when they, individually bound, are put into matter, which is softer, yet strong enough to hold them, and from which they will only be able to emerge when eternal love has awakened them once more. The seas and bodies of water are full of them, so they may become humble therein, and the air is full of them, so that they may be purified therein. Eternal love is the form in everything. However, the wrath of the divinity is only appeased on earth, but not abolished. But know this well. In the center of the sun dwells the spark of grace and gives light to the world through the fire of God's wrath. In the center of the earth, however, there dwells a spark of God's wrath, like a fire dragon, keeping the evil hordes in a solid state, like stones, which must first be softened through the water of mercy if they are to be released for a second trial, to gain freedom and eternal life. Now understand the mystery of your being, and marvel at the great love of eternal might, and how often it has let you be born again in order to reclaim you who were lost, for eternal life, for freedom, for the law, for love and light, and for beholding its countenance. Behold, all this I want to make known to you, and through you to many others too, so that you may finally understand how exceedingly good eternal love must be when it untiringly tolerates so much and does such great and marvelous things for you disobedient beings. And so, through the breath of the mercy of love, the earths were made to revolve around their suns and rotate around their own centers, as a sign to the children, so that in all they do they may follow the example of the earth's movement around the suns, and the moons around the earths. The weak shall be like the moons, and the strong like the earth, and the reborn shall be like the sun. The weak shall behold the strength of love that never forsakes them, if they, like the moons, steadfastly turn towards the face of love, revolving around it in smaller circles, yet by its power are also drawn into the great circle. The strong shall be like the earth, rotating independently, in order to hold themselves ready at all times to receive the light and warmth from the grace of love. Through its inner power, this gives them light, warmth and life, so that they may produce fruit of all kinds from the works of love, giving food to the weak, refreshing the incarnate, and delighting the reborn. And the reborn, out of the waters of merciful love, within whom grace is perfect, shall be like the sun. Their light shall shine everywhere, and their warmth shall revive the weak, and stimulate the strong towards nourishing the weak, that there may be fellowship among the children of one and the same Father. And behold, you shall look deeper still, and see how and why I have arranged all things in this way. Lo, the moon has specks and many dark areas, and the earth has cold but firm poles, high mountains and low valleys, springs, brooks, rivers, streams, lakes, seas, and great oceans, and the sun has large and small spots. Behold, all these things are effects of love and grace, or, respectively, warmth and light, all of which is eternal love and the power of the divinity through it. Therefore, look at the weak and the moon, how alike they are, and the moon's nature is revealed to you. Look at the strong and all their works, and the earth is revealed before your eyes. And from one pole to the other, there must be the rigid stillness of the spirit within the love towards love, so that everything which surrounds the spirit can move in a constant order, and thereby be active for the common purpose of everlasting preservation. For behold, everything depends on the stillness. Without it, nothing can be achieved, and he who is not like the poles of the earth does not penetrate his innermost, as does the line between the poles, the center of the earth. Your love must be cold, like the ice of the poles, to enable you to absorb all the warmth of divine love. For behold, what is warm is not fit for the reception of warmth, but what is cold, in its stillness, is capable of absorbing the warmth completely, and letting it stream forth into all parts of life. For whoever absorbs the warmth, which is the love of God, keeps it firmly within, and does not allow it to flow on, is a miser who dissolves himself and is destroyed like ice at the fire. However, he who receives it like the poles and passes it promptly onto all around him, be they near or far, with him divine love is in the right place and fully corresponds to the will of the great and holy giver. This love will bring much fruit. It will rise to the light of grace and constantly behold the boundless depths of the divinity, like the poles that look into the infinite spaces of the creations of the love of God. It will, with its eyes wide open, absorb the soft rays from the boundlessness of all the infinite spaces, where mercy's countless beings are circling, everyone according to its kind, and will, out of delight and bliss in its love towards love and for love, ignite itself and become self-illuminating, like a sun or the light of the earth's poles. Therefore, whoever remains constant in the center of the love of cognition, which is grace, will have his loins be aglow with love out of God, like the girdle of the earth, and his eyes will shine with understanding, like the poles, and his arms will move like the rivers, brooks, and springs, and his deeds will stream towards the seas of the divine mercies, which are salted with grace and the understanding of eternal love and everlasting life. Well, here you have the key to open up and look through the earth that carries you.